Welcome to Manny's TV Talk, where we will talk about all of our favorite reality TV shows and news surrounding them. Grab a snack, a drink, and get comfortable because this starts now.
Hey everyone, welcome in. So today we're going to be talking about the new episode of Love and Marriage Detroit, the new show. I have been watching the show since it began, but I wasn't covering it because I wanted to get used to these people because it's an all brand new show, So I was watching, and now I feel like it's a good time to start talking about it because now I kind of have a sense of who these people are and kind of what is going on with them. So let's get started into this episode. It starts off with that sit down that Kristina and Brandon had with Anthony, and Kristina is telling him, listen, I think you and your wife are jumping the bandwagon, which I agree. Anthony is freaking out and saying he doesn't feel comfortable working with someone who has been betraying his trust and who is a snake. And both Kristina and Brandon are trying to figure out, what did they do that was such snake behavior that you can't trust us? Sure, Brandon called Kolby a copycatter, and Kristina continues to tell Anthony that he never had an issue with Brandon, but now that Rusell does, he does as well. And like I said, as crazy and toxic as Brandon and Kristina might be with each other, I agree with her. You don't make decisions based on other people's experiences. And if you do, I believe that's called being a follower. Okay, then we proceed to the next scene. Anthony and LaToya at home. She's filling him in on the birthday party. She says it was great because there was no drama, and she hates drama. But then what does she do? She talks about the drama. She says that she can't believe that Kristina didn't even say happy birthday to Kolby. Anyway, Anthony fills LaToya in on what happened in that sit down. Of course, he's playing the victim, and in his delivery, he's definitely stirring the pot with his own wife and Kristina to make it seem like they have an issue. One thing that I can't agree on with Dr. LaToya is where she says that she doesn't like the public meltdowns, and she is right about that, and she pinpoints all of the public breakdowns that Kristina has had in public. That is a little embarrassing. But overall, this couple, LaToya and Anthony, have chosen to put themselves in the middle of something that has nothing to do with them. But let's move on. Rusell and Kolby. Kolby walks into the living room. Russell's doing his thing, working out, doing some pull-ups. And then they talk about this gym that he wants to open up. He has a deal now, and she has made it clear that she wants to know about these things and wants him to communicate better. And she says that she will clear her schedule to go to any meeting and stuff like that of that nature that has to do with businesses like this. The next scene is Kristina going into the studio with Brandon. I will say, if there is anything positive of them fighting the others, it might be them getting a little bit closer, not too much. When she walked in, he didn't even kiss her or hug or anything, so they still have a long way to go. But Brandon is going to have a showcase for his Star Factory, and she's helping. Now, Brandon tells Kristina that he got a message from Anthony, where Anthony tells Brandon that out of the 25 slots in the showcase, Brandon only has 3. Mind you, this is Brandon's showcase. So now they're really mad. And I think rightfully so, because this seems shady AF. But to me, this showcase is just confusing. I'm not sure what it's supposed to do. We'll see. And then the next scene is Kolby in her house again. And one of her good friends comes over. She tells her friend that she still hasn't spoken to Kristina, but most importantly, she can't really even communicate with her own husband. She feels like she's in the back end of a lot of conversations and just stuff that we already heard. And how are you considering to buy a car or a gym without telling her, she says. And she thinks that it's because maybe he was a bachelor for too long, or maybe because he's a great leader. But I think maybe he just doesn't want to hear her complain about his decisions. Just a thought, putting it out there. Moving along though, Kristina meets with another woman. She's a publicist, and Kristina wants to continue to grow, as a influencer and as a content creator. So she needs someone like this lady behind her. But wait, you guys, it gets messy. So the publicist, her name is Brittney. She knows Anthony because she's also his publicist. And she told Anthony that she was going to be working with Kristina. And what does Anthony do? He says, that's weird. They don't even like you. So Anthony was talking crap about Kristina and Brandon to this publicist, Brittney. This is weird, for someone who's leading a manhood movement, he sure is behaving like a you-know-what. But this just leaves Kristina very shocked. And I mean, how could it not? This is a publicist, and for her to hear that Anthony has been talking about her, it's really messy. And Kristina also mentioned something about Kolby and Rusell, which she's going to be letting him know. But then we move on to a meetup that Rusell is having. He invites all of the men, including Bravo. It's a Bible study, which I love. Y'all know, that's the book of life. That's the word. But the bad thing is that this Bible study became a mess. Well, first, the good thing was that Rusell and Brandon made up. So that's good. They no longer have an issue. They talk through it. But then Rusell has another bone to pick. Because after that meeting with the publicist, Kristina called Rusell to tell him that Anthony was dragging him and Kolby through the mud with the publicist. So he's asking Anthony, is this true? Did you do this? And Anthony's saying, no, that's not true. And as he's beginning to explain what happened and what he told Brittney, he pretty much admits that he did tell Brittney bad things about Brandon, and Brandon is pissed now. He says, I have never told you I didn't like Brittney. And Anthony is firm in that Brandon said that he didn't rock with Brittney, which might be true, but again, in the words of Nene, you in the woman's business, you are involving yourself in a lot of things. Anyway, Brandon and Anthony go at it, y'all, over the showcase. Brandon says, to be honest, you the little dog, go away with your daddy's money. And Anthony says, you wish that was me. You wished you did what I did. Everyone knows what I've done, but the Star Factory hasn't produced any stars. And just for more context, they were both super upset, of course, but Brandon was a little bit more laid back. Anthony, on the other hand, was jumping up and down his chair with his arms in the air. Bravo and Rusell are trying to calm them down. Brandon says, let's just say I did say that I didn't rock with Brittney. Why would you say that? And Anthony says, well, I had no choice left. Don't mess with my people. Eventually, Rusell turns it around. Everybody calms down. They hold each other's hands and they have great prayer. I did love that ending. But then we move on to another big thing. Kolby and Kristina come face to face. I was like, oh my, let's see how this goes. They sit. And Kristina asks, why did you start screaming and why were you so defensive the other day at the bowling alley? And Kolby is still talking about, you didn't answer my call. And now this has turned into another argument. Because this is no longer about the initial fight. Now, Kolby is mad that Kristina called Rusell to tell him about the publicist situation. So Kristina is saying, don't you ever call my husband. Let it be the last time. Kristina says, it was the first and last time, believe me. And again, before you know it, all fingers in the air, Kolby is screaming at the top of her lungs and says, if you hear anything about me or my husband, don't you ever call my husband, you call me. Then Kristina tries to explain back to the initial thing why she didn't call her, but Kolby will not let Kristina talk. And Kolby keeps calling her a manipulator, conniving, fake. It's just so much anger, and I really think that she doesn't know how to communicate. And maybe this is why Rusell is not telling her anything about what he's doing, because literally 2 seconds into this fight, she was already screaming at Kristina, and it's not even about the screaming, it's also the interrupting, and it's not being able to listen to the other person, so there can be no dialogue. So we'll see what happens. It looks like next week Kristina's gonna get into it with LaToya, because LaToya is obviously riding that bandwagon with Kolby. And as far as the you can't call my husband, I kind of go back and forth, because y'all know I'm traditional. I don't even think women and men should be friends if they're married, but I don't even think this was I think Kolby was overreacting. But you guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section about this show. It's crazy. This is crazy. I didn't think it was going to be this crazy, but these couples are something else. So yeah, you guys, 2 questions. Who do you believe, Anthony or Brandon? And then lastly, whose side are you on Kristina or Kolby? Let me know, guys. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. Y'all have a great one. Bye.